What's up, guys? It's Nutsack MMA, and today I'm going to be saying bad things about my favorite fighters. You guys probably don't know much about my favorite fighters, so I figured I'd educate y'all on like who my favorite fighters are, as well as saying a couple bad things about them, so I could have like a video idea. So yeah, let's just get into it. So my favorite fighter is Tom Aspinall. I just think he's cool. I think he's dope. I forgot to add something on there actually. Yeah. But yeah, I love Tom Aspinall. He's dope. Cool, humble dude. I think he beats everyone at heavyweight, including Jones, and finishes everyone round one. Really entertaining style. You can't hate that, and I think he's great all around. Now, unfortunately, I do think he'll beat Jones, but he will never get the Jones fight. And Tom has the shortest average fight time in UFC history, so he usually ends his fights round one, so we don't really know how well his cardio is. So we have to take that into account looking into like future fights. And obviously the Nina drama interview. If you know, you know. But yeah, moving on to the next person, Brandon Moreno. Love Brandon Moreno. I'm Mexican, so I love most Mexican fighters. You can see a little more Mexican fighters on here too. Unfortunately, I do think Brandon Moreno has fell off, and I don't think he's ever going to win a belt again. And I think he had a really bad performance against Raul. Didn't really do much, kind of just overhand and the low kick. That's pretty much all he did. Yeah, it's so sad. I really just think he fell off, and I hate seeing him like this, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, coming up next, we got Rob Whittaker. Love Rob Whittaker. Super dope dude. You can't hate Rob Whittaker. The OL fights, classics. Second fight against Izzy. Arguably beat him again. Arguably beat him. Izzy did knock him out the first time. That's another thing. He's chinny. He's chinny as fuck. That's why I always put him. He gets dropped in like every fight. Not in every fight, but he gets dropped in a lot of his fights. Like he got dropped in he got knocked out in the Whittaker fight. He got dropped in the Izzy fight. He was dropped against Yoel a bunch of times. Knocked out by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Who else? Yeah, no one else comes like to the top of my head, but he's been dropped a lot for sure. And yeah, he also has pillow hands. I know he just finished Ikram, but like before that, I believe his last knockout win was against Jacare Souza, which was in 2017, and that was after beating his ass for like a little bit. So, yeah, and I don't think he's ever going to be a champ again. I think I would pick Jerkis to beat him again. And I might pick Sean Strickland to beat him. And I would pick Izzy to beat him. So, yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. But moving on to the next person, Alex Pereira. Can't hate this dude. Unfortunately, he did get flatlined, but Izzy hates to see it. His striking defense is a little bit bad. It is improving, but it still needs some work. And, of course, his grappling. But these don't seem to be that much of problems. I just hate the fact that he got flatlined by Izzy. He literally could have a flawless record if it wasn't for that. Unfortunately, hate to see it. But moving on to the next person, Yair. Oh man, where do I start? Dog shit wrestling, dog shit fight IQ. Now I love Yair because he's so dynamic. He's so entertaining to watch with his striking, his kicks. Gave Volk and Max tough fights. Made them shoot takedowns, both of them. Unfortunately, that loss to Ortega was a pretty bad loss. Yair had every advantage going into it. He came off of a title fight. Ortega took 2 years off, I believe, and he was coming off an injury, 2-year layoff. Rolled his ankle like on his walkout, I believe. I remember seeing that video, and it looked like a bad roll too. And Yair 10-8'd him in the first round, just for Ortega to take him down and arm triangle him in the second round. Just embarrassing. Dog shit fight IQ, like I said. And unfortunately, he's never going to be a champ because I don't even think he's going to be able to fight Ilya. But if he does fight Ilya, I'd pick Ilya to fucking sleep him out cold. Or out grapple him. Ilya could out grapple him as well. But yeah, moving on to the next person, MVP. MVP might be... I love MVP. He's so dynamic. And he's just super fun striker to watch. Unfortunately, Michael Venom Page might be the worst grappler to ever grace the UFC. Bro got controlled by in an entire round by Kevin Holland, and he got also controlled in 2 rounds by Ian Gary. And also, something underrated about him, he's not great on the mic. Ian Gary was kind of cooking him in the press conference, and he didn't really have that many good comebacks. He was kind of just saying like, "Oh, I can't hear what you're saying," like. But yeah, like, that sounded Australian. I meant to sound British, but yeah. Again, he's also British, so let's add that there. Yeah, he's also British, but yeah. I guess with his fight style, you just expect him to have a little more personality. But he's kind of he does have a little bit of personality, but I think he could have better comebacks for sure, and he could be better on the mic, and he could be more entertaining. Coming up next, we got Raul Rosas Jr. Great prospect, great grappling. I think he will be an elite grappler in the future. Not sure if he's ever going to become champion, but he did lose to Christian Rodriguez, which is pretty humbling. But he was only like 18 when he fought Christian Rodriguez, so I can let that slide. And he's had 2 good wins since then, like a flatline, or not a flatline, but he had like a knockout win against some can, and then Ricky Tercios, who was like okay, he subbed him, and also he's hideous. That's pretty obvious. So moving on to the next person. Yeah, Raul Rosas Jr. might be the ugliest person ever graced the UFC, by the way. Anyways, moving on to the next person, we got Derrick Lewis. Love Derrick Lewis, you can't hate him. Funny as fuck. Gives up sometimes though, and I don't think he's that elite. 2 title fights he had were against Gane and DC, and I'm pretty sure he got ran through in both of them. And he's a borderline blob. I would say he's like a natural heavyweight. No, I wouldn't say that even. He's not in shape at all. But you know, most of heavyweights are blobs. He's like the best blob in heavyweight in my opinion. Him or like maybe Tuivasa. Like I said, he does give up sometimes, which sucks. And I just don't think he's that elite in my opinion. So, but he's funny as fuck. Can't hate him. He's guaranteed to see a knockout every time he fights, unless it's Almeida and he just lays on him the entire time. But yeah, can't hate Derrick Lewis. Next person, Yiri. Love Yiri. Super entertaining fighter. Super entertaining fight style, strike style. Unfortunately, I don't think Yiri will ever be Alex. It's just a terrible matchup for him. And Yuri's striking defense is like some of the worst I've ever seen. And forgot to add that. Inability to check leg kicks. Yeah, Yuri just sucks when it comes to defense, but his offense is so great it makes up for it. Unless you're facing Alex, where you need to have elite defense or else he's going to flatline you. Anyways, moving on to the next person, we got Max Holloway. Love him. Can't hate Max Holloway, of course. Volk is his daddy, though, and he gets hit so much, takes so much damage, unfortunately. And I think that his chin will expire eventually if he keeps fighting. I know he's only 32, but he's been fighting since he was like 20. And, yeah, everyone's chin expires eventually, which sucks, but it is what it is. Moving on next, Michael Chandler. Love this dude. Always puts on entertaining fights. That's what I always love about him. But he's getting played by Connor, dude. Connor's just playing games with him at this time. Been waiting for like 2 years for that fight. Still hasn't happened. He always almost wins. And what I mean by that was he always gets close to finishing his opponent, then he finds like some goofy ass way to lose. Like, he almost finished Gaethje, but Gaethje did win that fight for sure. Almost finished Dustin. Then he gassed out in the 3rd round and Dustin was able to sub him. And he almost finished Oliveira in round 1. Then he got clipped and knocked out by Oliveira in round 2. This dude, and that goes on to the 3rd point. He has a peanut brain fight IQ. This dude is so complete. He has amazing power, good striking, great wrestling as well. Pretty underrated part of his game. I just think that if he had more of a brain, then he could have he could be potential to be champion. Like, I totally think that for sure. Moving on to the next person, got Suga Sean. A lot of people don't like him because of this reason right here. He has the personality of a napkin, which I do agree with. The reason I love him though is just because his fight style is so entertaining and he's such a smooth striker. But he could lose to Merab, and he arguably robbed Dion. I don't think he did, but you could argue that he did. And like I said, he could definitely lose to Merab. I don't think he will, but he could. And those are bad things about him. But like I said, personality of a napkin. Like, the UFC brands him as like a superstar. But like, he's on the mic and you just hear crickets. Like, Chito Vera was out speaking him, Peter Yan was out speaking him, and Peter Yan barely knows English, so it's just embarrassing. Darren Till, terrible grappling, no discipline. I don't even think he's ever gonna fight again. Always injured. terrible physique. Look at this physique. And how that phrase that he always uses, no excuses, no excuses. Always makes excuses. Ah, man, Darren Till. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But moving on to the next person, Orolbai. Not much to say about Orolbai. He's a great prospect. Just beat Elvis Brenner, who was fraud checking a lot of people, like Garam. But in that Elvis Brenner fight, he did win fair and square by a dominant decision, but his cardio did look a little bit bad. But I think that his cardio will improve because that was his first time cutting down to 155 in the UFC. His first fight was against Uros Medic and he ran through him, but that was at 170. So, but I think Orolbai is a great striker, elite grappler. I think he will be an elite grappler. But I just think he needs to improve his cardio. But I think his cardio will improve because he is young. Well, I mean, he's pretty fucking old. He looks like he's 2,000 years old, but I'm pretty sure he's young and he does have a lot of potential. So I think he will be elite in the future. But yeah, so that's all the fighters I got on my list, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.